The Music Room, Part 2. Mirrors, she said, are never to be trusted. Neil Gaiman. In the previous episode, we got no further than identifying the bottom of a piano, its legs. What an ordeal. Father, you'll remember, had insisted that the double piano's orientation be understood not in its ordinary relation to the ground, but in reference to itself only. It was a kind of in-object orientation he was pushing. To know it was upside down, Father meticulously argued, required knowing first what its upside was, independent of where down was in the planetary sense. This was laborious to me, and I'm glad to report that identifying the top of the piano was, by comparison, rather easy. I put my right hand on top of the closed lid, I made the identification, and apart from Father noting that he preferred the word cover to lid, we agreed on the location of the top of the piano without controversy. This is where we pick up the story. I suppose you know which is the left side then? Father continued. And so it began all over again. I did not know, and I told him I did not know. The piano seemed left-right symmetric to me inasmuch as it seemed front-back symmetric. Father gave no immediate response, but went over to his desk and rummaged through some piano music. He seemed not to be finding what he needed, but I waited patiently, and he finally pulled out a work with a sketch on it, more of a thin-lined schematic, depicting a grand piano. "And there you are," he announced conclusively. "Where?" I asked. What am I meant to see?" "The lid, as you call it." That was Father taking the second opportunity to bemoan the apparently inferior descriptor. I looked at the lid in the picture and thought about it. "Okay, I see." "Yes, I hope you do," said Father. "For just like the grand piano in this picture, and like so many pianos, our double piano has its hinge, when we sit in front of it, to our left. The cover props open like this." Father opened up the double piano on the right with a gentle, practiced gesture. "So it's not left-right symmetrical," I said. "No, indeed," Father returned. "And that's as much as we need. Put its hinge on your left. That's the rule, remember, son. The hinge on the left, and you'll be sitting in front of the piano." I did so and sat down, plucking out a few notes, searching maybe for the Dorian mode or for something. The layout was absurd. Who could know where anything was? I paused for a moment. "Father," I said, "the piano really is front to back symmetrical, isn't it?" "Yes," said Father. "But," I continued, "we deduced in a way, or determined its front and back, by working out its other sides, bottom, top, left, right." "Yes," said Father. "Once those were decided, the others came into focus." I was no longer tinkering with the piano, and Father closed the lid gently, as deftly as he had opened it. I hadn't noticed before, but there was a small cigarette burn on the right side of the cover. I touched it with my right hand. I had hardly bonded with Father, but we had talked, and I felt myself not only to be in his room, the music room, but in his head almost. His was a strange world that turned itself upside down and righted itself with so much eccentricity, grace, and idiosyncratic eloquence. I looked down at the strange keyboard and then looked in front of me. The whole wall behind the piano, that is, behind what I now called the back of the double piano, was comprised of one huge mirror. I lifted my right hand as if in greeting, my image lifting his left in simultaneous response. Why does the mirror do that? Then I noticed something strange. The hinge of the double piano was on my left as I sat in front of it, yes, but it was also on the left in the mirror. Only in the mirror there was no one in the front position of the double piano, only an empty bench. What was happening? But there was someone, myself, seated at the back of the double piano when I looked in the mirror, that is. How could the same mirror that was apparently reversing my left and right hands be switching the piano's front and back? What was going on? Postscript. Generally, I'll exclude images from the podcast, but here's a little sketch of what I saw in the music room's mirror. I'm seated at the front of the double piano, and my right hand is reaching towards the burn mark. I've indicated that with a dot. I've also put a dot where I normally wear my wristwatch on my right hand. How could I be left-right swapped and the piano be apparently front-back swapped in this same mirror at the same time? Was it a question for Father?